We feeling today? It's me, Rory Kelly. I'm going to be reading to you today from Tarot of the Cloisters, a really beautiful round deck in my collection. All right, let's get my banners up. I hope we're feeling delightful. It's been a weird couple of weeks, hasn't it? How is everybody doing? I feel a little bit like, woohoo! That's how I feel. I feel those two syllables. Good morning. Hello, Ondine. Hello, Savannah. How are you? Thank you for tuning in. All right. I'm reading today from the Tarot of the Cloisters. I see a couple comments already. Hello, Grayson. Good morning. Meow. Hello, Tiger. Cool. Yay, friends. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Meowing. Yes, good meowing. Yeah, has anyone, I know that, a couple of us were real beaten up by Mercury retrograde. I'm feeling a little beaten up by the universe right now. Oh, side effects from Moderna, such a joy. I take it to mean that you got your booster, maybe, which is good. I'm glad that that's accessible to at least a portion of the population at this time. But yeah, oof, side effects. I remember I got Pfizer, and the second shot, the first shot wasn't so bad. I just got pain in my arm, and the second shot was a doozy, knocked me right out. Still audio issues on IG, switching to Facebook. I am sorry. Savannah says, love that deck, so beautiful. I absolutely love it too. It's kind of stained glassy, this deck. And it's round. I love a round deck. I'm such a fan. Let's see. I want to just get this so that we're not getting any weird reflections. Yes, I think we're good. Okay, I don't want reflections on the cards. I want you to be able to see the cards. Going to see if I can find you on Facebook. I am on Facebook. Matter of fact, I'm about to share the Facebook broadcast in one or two places, because often I notice that by the time Facebook sends those notifications out to followers, the broadcast's been going for a minute. Thanks, Facebook. What are you gonna do? How is everyone feeling? We had a full moon this week. Did it knock anyone else on your ass? Because that's pretty much how I'm feeling. Hang on, hydration checkpoint. Cheers. Full moons are really culminations, and now we're in this waning time. I'm very much against the tides right now because this is my busiest time of the year. As you might imagine, Halloween is a very busy time for a tarot reader. I have a lot of events coming up. It's also still my busy season as a musician. So, ergo, last 2 weeks of October are woo! Yeah, it's a friggin' adventure. And it's also the last 2 weeks of this moon cycle, meaning the waning moon cycle, and we're supposed to be kind of decluttering our existence. And I am cluttering my existence. I'm all over the place. So I'm trying to balance that a little bit because my body and my brain are screaming at me for a need for more balance. How about you? Did anyone else receive any insights? Perhaps inconvenient insights? Usually they're inconvenient if you have to receive them from the full moon or from the tarot or whatever. Usually, at least for me, it's things I've been ignoring for a little while, and then the universe is hello, this is what you need to pay attention to. You haven't been. So, that's definitely how it's going for me. How about you? How was your new moon? How has your week been? How are you feeling today? When I ask how are you feeling, I mean it in a sincere way. I want to really know how you're feeling. I don't want the polite answer that you give in passing. I want the real answer. I found out that I hate vaccines. Yeah, fair. Meow, literally. Meowie. Hello, Judith. How are you? Look at that cute little cat. I don't know what to call that. GIF sticker thing? Facebook sticker? It's very cute. It's wearing a little bandana. That's lovely. Judith says, I am waking up. I am also waking up. Lana Marie says, a mess. I send my love to you, and I feel much the same. Anna says, what week? I want to throw up. Okay, so everyone has had a crazy week. It's not just me. I guess let's feel better that we're not alone in our crazy vibes. At least we're all in this together for what that is worth. And I'm going to get started pulling cards in just a minute. I'm just sharing around a little bit on the Facebook because I find that that really makes a difference. I often have people tell me I couldn't find you when I've been live for 20 minutes. And that sucks, you know, so I try to make it accessible to people. Even people who are following me. Although I will say, wherever you are, follow me because that does make a difference. If you go right to the page, you can always find it. All right, there's my sharing. All done. A recreation director just messaged me. Yay, yay! All right, I know I already have some cats in the chat. Let me pull a card for everyone at this time. This is a Tarot of the Cloisters deck, created and illustrated by Michelle Levitt. Leavitt. I believe that's pronounced Levitt. Not Leave It. Yeah, I just love this deck. I'm crazy about it. It's I don't know if it's still in print. I bought it at like a Borders Books, if you want to know how long I've had it, because Borders Books is not around anymore. And at the time, it was just on the shelf. It was easy to get, but I think it is out of print at this time, and I still love it. I'm grateful that I have it. I was trying to decide what deck to read with. I wanted to read with a kind of cozy, comforting deck this week because I think a lot of us have been going through some things, and I didn't want a deck that would smack us in the face. I wanted a deck that would take us by the hand and tell us how messy we were feeling. Lovingly. That's the difference. All right, I've done some shuffling. Let me give us our card for the week. Our card for the week is the Queen of Swords. She is pointing up and to the side. She's not quite upright. She's pointing a little backwards. We're still affected by this Mercury retrograde. Our true north is a little skewed right now as we are still trying to integrate the lessons of the past few weeks. And most of the lessons of the past few weeks do not just have to do about the past few weeks for us. Hey, Claire, thanks for tuning in. Most of the lessons of the past few weeks do not just have to do about the past few weeks. These are us reprocessing things from way longer back than that. Reprocessing trauma, beginning to move through things, which is good work for us to do. Yet it can make us feel very vulnerable, very raw. I'm just feeling like my shirt's a little low today. It's big boob problems, my friends. Any shirt that looks normal on other people looks very suggestive when you have big boobs. I'm trying over here. I'm trying. I'm just going to be honest about it. So this is our card for the week. It's the Queen of Swords. And like I said, she's pointed a little bit to the back. And some of you are seeing me in a mirror and some of you are not. So I'm sorry if it looks the wrong way. Queen of Swords indicates that it is time to find our truth. It is time to really focus in on what our truth is, and that we may have to look backwards to look forwards. We may have to revisit some things that we thought were our truths. Tell me if this is just me. I have people in my life that have had a big influence on my life, both positive and negative, I would say, which is how any very intense relationship is, right? And I have had times where I thought I had an opinion about something, and I later realized, wait, that's not my opinion, that's their opinion. And had to reform and think about what my real opinion actually was. And that's the type of work we will be doing this week. There are times, too, when maybe you genuinely did feel a certain way about something and you have evolved, and you need to notice you have evolved, right? I used to love doing XYZ, and it made me feel full of energy and light, and now it actually doesn't. Now it feels draining to me, and it is no longer the thing that nourishes my soul at this chapter of my life. Those kind of realizations. Or I used to hate doing this. I thought I hated. I'm an introvert, and I'm at this cycle in my life, which is interesting because I'm so busy I don't get a chance to, where I'm realizing how much I love to spend time with my friends, how much I love going out and being around people. And it's not me not being an introvert anymore. It's me discovering that this can be really good when I'm surrounded by the correct people and I am taking good enough care of myself that I can enjoy those moments, you know? And that's the kind of work we're doing right now. We're discovering things about ourselves. We thought we knew, we thought we had things understood a certain way. And in fact, either this situation has evolved or now there's an opportunity for us to get at a deeper layer of truth. That is our theme for this week, is our deeper truth. Hey, Samara, good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. Okay. Judith says, reprocessing. Oh, that's for sure. Magic Lavender Witch. Savannah has moved over to Twitch. Hello. Lana says, I've been smacked in the face a lot this week and last week. I'm very, very sorry. Ondine says, bring on the cozy comfort. Grayson says, it's not in print. You can buy bootlegs. But yeah, I think that is what I've seen. Because a couple of people were like, I've seen it. And I think what they were seeing is bootlegs. There's a lot of... this has become a real thing, bootleg tarot decks, like knockoff decks. And I gotta tell you, when people print those decks, none of the money goes to the original deck creator, who, by the way, like, deck creators don't make a lot of money. The reason you see tarot decks being created on Kickstarter and Indiegogo so much is because they cost a great deal to produce. And it's not like there's this huge return on investment where, like, you release a tarot deck and become rich. Not so at all. So please don't buy knockoff decks. I mean, a lot of people I think have been burned. They don't know they're buying a knockoff deck and then they get it and they're like, this looks kind of funny, you know? Often the packaging won't look quite the same, or the booklet won't come with the deck. That's often a giveaway. And there's just like a link to a PDF booklet. That's a warning sign. So if you see someone selling decks that seems to be really cheap, there's probably a reason. It probably is too good to be true. I really request that if you're buying a tarot deck, that you not buy a knockoff. You not, like, you know, save the $5 or $10 for yourself by buying a cheap knockoff, and you go and buy a deck at full price and buy it from a reputable source. Ideally, the deck creator themselves, if possible. If not, you know, from somewhere like an indie bookstore or a witchy shop or something like that. Anyway, that was just a little thing. Judith says, see Ciro Marchetti's post on Facebook. Yeah, I know Ciro Marchetti, who is an illustrator of both tarot and Lenormand decks, and really great artist. I absolutely love his art. It's very lush. It's very hyper-realistic and lush, which I absolutely love. He, I know, has been a real activist about not buying knockoff decks and about rooting these out and making sure that we are supporting deck creators. He's been so active in the tarot community, which is cool. It's always really exciting when someone who creates tarot decks that you love is, like, very active in the community and you can, like, get to know them as a person. Like, that's so neat. Anyway, so if you just tuned in, welcome to the Witchy Weather Report. Many of us have had a real crazy time of it this week, so if that's you too, you're not alone. Our card for the week is the Queen of Swords, and she's pointing a little bit backwards. We have some reprocessing to do. We have to sift through things that we thought were true about ourselves, about our lives, and discover a deeper layer of truth underneath. If you would like me to pull a card for you, the secret code, and some people have done this already, I see you. The secret code is to drop a cat in the chat. Put a cat emoji in there or write the word meow. And we use that secret code because when people just say, hey, can you pull a card for me? Often we get spammers. I don't want any spammers. Also, it's just delightful to see a bunch of cats in the comments. That's very charming. Cats are great. So it's a win. So if you're tuned in and you haven't yet and you would like me to pull a card, drop a cat emoji in the chat or write the word meow and I will know to pull a card for you. At this time, who am I going to pull a card for first? I believe Ondine was the first meowy person. Hey, Angie, so good to see you. Thank you for tuning in. I believe Ondine was the first person to drop a cat, so I'm going to, or she might have said good meowing or something like that. I'm going to pull a card for you. Then I'm going to, like, scroll back up to the top and see who else I got in order. That's how I do this every Saturday morning from 11 to 12. And I do have a hard stop at 12 today because I have a gig to get to. I'm a musician, so I'm running off to do a gig after this. I pull as many cards as I can within the hour. And these readings are offered freely. If you want to throw some love in the virtual tip jar, it's always welcome. If you're watching on Instagram, it's in my pinned comment. If you're watching anywhere else, you can see it right down below me. It's Venmo at Rory Kelly. You can also do paypal.me/Rory Kelly. And here is, I'm going to pop this into the comments. All my links are in my bio in Instagram, but if you're not watching on Instagram, this is all my links everywhere. So please feel free to check those things out. Check out my Etsy shop if you want to get a full reading at some point. There's a code there for 10% off. Please use it. You deserve it. And if you want to join the community, the kind of the Sassafras Tarot fan club kind of community, patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot is where you can do that. Anyway, I just wanted to get those PSAs out of the way because sometimes I forget. Ondine, here's your card. I have, I'm going to do one more little shuffle. My only complaint about this deck is the round deck can sometimes, the shuffling can be a little awkward. But I'm not complaining because round cards, nifty. Okay, so you have the Ten of Vessels, and I'm going to tell you it's a little bit reversed and also pointing backwards. So what that means to us, specifically we're talking about family stuff like we're not in Kansas anymore, no longer having that like paradise feeling. And I know if you're on Instagram, it's reversed. I'm sorry, Instagram friends. I don't know. Trust me. It's pointing a little backwards in real life. So we're no longer feeling that really happy feeling of, yes, our family life, our home life, everything is idyllic. We're starting to, the cracks are starting to show in that painting. And we are realizing that the roots may go deeper because this also, again, we're pointing to the past. We may have some reprocessing to do around the past. It might look at examining things that affected us dramatically and how we know we responded to them. Often, we've done already a little work around that, right? Like we know how certain relationships have affected us. Now that we have evolved, it's a good time to go back and do some reprocessing and ask ourselves, and specifically this is for you, Ondine, like, is there any more you can learn from this? And, or, are you ready to make some new choices around this? Because sometimes we've already kind of plumbed those depths. We're like, haven't we been there? But, self-work is like peeling an onion, right? There's always another layer, and it might be time for one more layer. And it might be time in particular to ask ourselves, what is this? What can I learn from the past that's actually affecting the decisions I'm making right this minute? Is there a different decision I can be making that I don't realize because of this unprocessed thing in my past, right? Because I'm presuming it's like the past, perhaps, or because maybe I'm even making a presumption about my own feelings because I felt this way in the past and it's become like a spiral story for me, What is there that I can learn? So it is time to do some shadow work, specifically around family life and specifically around our past and our past trauma. And I know that's like a lot. This really ties in with our Queen of Swords, about finding your truth and finding your truth about the past. Often it's very interesting. Our story about our past, which the past stays the same, right? It's past. We can't revisit it except in our minds. But often we have an evolving understanding of our past, and it might be time for you to have the next stage in your evolution. Ondine says, yes, hell no with the idyllic. Yes, I'm sorry. I'm laughing because that's a funny comment, not because I'm laughing at you. I'm sorry. You deserve an idyllic family life. Ondine says, sometimes untying knots also requires money for a retainer. Yes, correct. And that is a challenge. And I'm not, so I want to be real clear. Whenever I share something with you from the tarot, I'm never going to give people a specific instruction such as do this, leave that person, make up with that person, I usually am not going to do that because, and I'm giving relationship examples, but it doesn't have to be relationship examples, right? Like quit that job or go take that job. Usually I don't, because I'm not in your shoes, right? And I can have the insight of the universe, whatever that means to you, whatever you believe these cards do, which people have varying beliefs about it, and I welcome all of them at this table. I'm here to talk to you about like what's kind of for your highest good and things that I think are important for you to consider. And I'm not here to be like, do this. I'm not a prescriptive tarot reader because I hate unsolicited advice. I think I've had a lot of bad unsolicited advice given to me over the years. That's some of my past trauma. And I don't want to be that person. So you'll notice I ask a lot of questions. I ask, what can you do about this? Where can you dig deeper about this? What can you learn from this? So I'm sorry, Ondine, in advance, because I know that's like tough work to go through and it's stressful. And I'm here to tell you that I hope what happens is you kind of do a little bit of digging, and end up stronger and feeling saner and happier on the other side of it. Thank you, Judith. Thank you for saying that. I cannot be that person because, oh my goodness. Claire dropped some cats in the chat. Hey, Claire, how you doing? All right, so let's see. We got Grayson, we got Tiger, and we got Judith on deck. And I know there's some other folks who dropped cats. Don't worry, I'll get to you. If you haven't and you would like to, please feel free. I'll get you. Water. Hydration checkpoint, kiddos. Drinking out of my little dinosaur cup. I'm not sure if you can see the dinosaurs on here. My husband got this for me for my birthday one year, and there's like these etched little dinosaurs. There's 2 different dinosaurs too. Just had to take that moment to share about the dinosaurs. You know, it's definitely, I've definitely, as the last little bit of my life has been insane for my brain. I have been taking a moment to find gratitude for little small things that I kind of interact with day to day and don't think about very much. Because it's a mental health thing. I am in need of gratitude at this moment. Plus, it's a glass mug. Yes, I love a glass mug. I used to always have conversations with my mom, with my mom, where she would drink water. We both would drink water all day, but I would only drink water out of glass containers. And she would pour herself a glass of water in like a plastic cup. And I'd be like, that's not a glass of water, Mom. That's a plastic of water. I won't have it. That's my personal opinion. That's how I like to drink water. I like to drink it out of glass. Need a cup of herb tea. Nice cup, says Samara. Thank you. All right. So we got Grayson next, then Tiger, then Judith. I believe that was who I said. Grayson, Tiger, Judith. Yep. Okay. One more shuffle for y'all. Grayson, here is your card. This is also reversed. With this deck, we're going to get things. It's funny. We've gotten pretty much the same orientation with every card, and they really vary because it's a circular deck. They can't not vary, you know. But we've been getting a lot of up, reversed and to the back. You're getting Judgment, and it is reversed, and it is pointing backwards, indicating that your own judgment, wow, themes are emerging from today's Witchy Weather Report. Your own judgment may be questionable, and it might be questionable due to influences from your past, due to you looking at things perhaps through the lens of how things used to be, or as a past version of yourself. Maybe something has brought up some trauma, and so it's made you, instead of seeing clearly, see through the lens of trauma, which is a very painful lens, you know? And so the way to turn this right side up is to spend some time and give yourself as much kindness as you can to take the pressure off. So I want to ask you not to put pressure on yourself to be right about everything and have correct judgment. Rather than making large commitments at this time or big decisions that are going to be impactful for you for a long time, I'm going to invite you not to make choices that are not easily reversible. I'm going to invite you to be very gentle with yourself and say, you know what, I'm moving through something. This is always a growth cycle when we like look back at this past stuff that is stressful. Grayson says, so don't go visit my ex-boyfriend. Gotcha. You know I'm not a prescriptive reader like that. But if that's your takeaway, that's your takeaway, and I won't take it from you. Yeah, I'm just going to recommend that you be kind to yourself. Allow yourself to be a human being. I think often this is like a human condition thing maybe, or maybe a cultural societal thing. We expect ourselves, even when we're under tremendous emotional pressure and literal pressure and health pressure and stuff like that, we expect ourselves to always be able to be rational. And the truth is, it's real hard to be rational sometimes when you are facing so much pressure. The computer that is our brains is a biological computer affected by all the chemicals running through our body. And if it's constantly like cortisol from stress, you know, or if you're having, you know, a lack of the chemicals that make us feel good and connected and whole, like serotonin and dopamine, then, well, we got problems, you know? And we need to not put pressure on ourselves to be rational when we are experiencing dramatic experiences, you know, when we're experiencing things that push our buttons, because our computer brain is effective. We can't help it, is affected by these things. We can't help it. So I want you to go easy on yourself and be really kind to yourself at this time, because you're navigating something that requires it. So that is my reminder to you. Sometimes it is hard for us to be good friends to ourselves. Be kind to yourself. Cut yourself slack as you would cut anyone slack going through something. All right. Onion says, another take on the reversal of Ten of Vessels, which makes it doubly relevant. The Ten of Cups reversed can reveal a misalignment of personal values. You are not living by your own values, nor are you being true to yourself. Instead, you are allowing others to decide what will and will not make you happy when you know you should determine that for yourself. As a result, you are questioning whether you believe in what you are doing. Bring your focus back to what truly makes you happy. Even if it, I think that comment ran out of space, but basically, yes. Yeah, and that's really interesting because I think that touches on a lot of the themes we've been talking about today, Andi, in that sense of, is this my opinion or is this someone else's opinion? Is this really how I feel or is this how I thought I felt because of relationship context, you know? Really interesting. Judith says, we're all going to get wet. Yeah. Oh, Lana says, I'm taking you to the shower with me. Oh, thank you. That makes me understand Judith's comment better. I'm taking you to the shower with me so I don't miss the reading. Lana, that's hilarious. I'm honored. And I want to let you know, by the way, if you ask for a card, and you're like, oh no, I'm going to miss the card, the replay is always up. You can always go back and read it. So don't worry. Okay, we got Tiger, then Judith coming up. Angie says phone call, which I think means that I shouldn't pull her card right now. Maybe she's on the phone. That's okay. Oh, wow. Grayson says, I don't trust my judgment about romance and sexual relationships because of an abusive past. So yeah, who could blame you? You know, that would be, I don't know anyone who has experienced that kind of trauma of abuse and who has a clear, you know, who is like, oh yeah, I'm clear-sighted about really, like, it's very hard. It has to be, it's like a muscle that has to be redeveloped because we've been gaslit and harmed. So just here to say you're allowed, you're allowed to struggle with that. All right. This is your card, Tiger. Tarot kind of wanted to give you both of these cards, so I'm going to give you both, okay? Because it wasn't sure which one it wanted to pick. We have the King of Staves. We're talking passion. King of Staves, not reversed, sideways, like pushing forward. Passion. You really are at a place right now where you want to lead with your passion. That's very important to you. It's a little bit because you've gone through some things lately that have made you realize what's important, and you're like, you know, it is friggin' time. It's time for me to lead the way. It's time for me to point my finger to the map and set things in motion. Yet at the same time, followed up behind that is death, meaning that things are changing. It may mean that by choosing to say, yes, I'm honoring my need to kind of answer a calling, because that's what I'm going to interpret this King of Staves is, someone who knows his calling and owns it, right? Perhaps by honoring my need to answer a calling, I must also acknowledge that something else has to end. Perhaps something that I valued enough to not answer my calling before, right? And we need to close the chapter on that. And I'll also say that death is not always a negative card. This is a white horse. There's a flower here. There's a real indication that some peace is possible. Death is the kind of ending that actually does bring you some closure. And it may allow you to move your next, make your next steps in kind of a more graceful and honest way with yourself. And I know these are like stressful friggin' cards to get back to back, but I'm here to tell you, I think right now you are going through growing pains. And I think right now the changes you are going through will allow you to better acknowledge who you really are. You know what I mean? Not the person that you have become to fulfill others' desires and to fill, you know, the needs that we all have to get our own needs met, but who you really are, the mark you are meant to leave on this world, right? The things that are your values, your needs, your desires. I think you're going to get an opportunity to do this. I see your sad face in the chat, and my heart's going out to you because I know you've been going through rough stuff, and I know, you know, this is just hard. It's just hard. It's growing pains. Growing is hard. So I'm sending you a lot of love. Mary Jane says, so interesting about all of this. Just yesterday, a memory of spectacular parental neglect surfaced, and I've been working out what I should do with this memory. Wow. Maybe you're doing exactly what you should be doing. Maybe just allowing yourself to kind of meditate on it is what you need to be doing right now. Sometimes that's what we need to do, is just sit with a memory, right? Fascinating. And I hope, my heart goes out to everyone today. Like, my gosh, we've been really going through it. And I have to say, this is a hard part. Everyone talks about self-work, and we get the spiritual bypassing thing. Like, oh, do your shadow work, but then you'll be love and light. And it's like, you know what? It's friggin' hard. It's friggin' hard to show up honestly for ourselves. And that's why spiritual bypassing is a thing. For those of you who don't know what spiritual bypassing is, it is that thing of like, just focus on the positive, you know, like that's spiritual bypassing, where we like talk about being love and light and putting good energy in the world, and don't acknowledge that there are real dark things in our lives and within ourselves as well that we have to give our attention to sometimes, you know, in order to be good people, in order to live our best lives. We sometimes have to go through the muck and come out the other side. So this is a no spiritual bypassing zone. This is a place here that acknowledges that sometimes you have to go through the muck, and also that sometimes it's friggin' hard, and we can be compassionate and loving to each other around that. Judith, it is time for your card. Doing another shuffle, a little bit of a shuffle for you. All right, here's your card, Judith. You got the 10 of Vessels, and now it is upright. That's what you get with a round deck. Things wiggle around. So it's upright, and it's moving forward. So now is a really good time to think about your relationships as your legacy. I'm just gonna say that one more time. Your relationships as your legacy, the impact you have on other people, the way you allow other people to impact you, community. The 10 of Vessels is not just about family, but about chosen family, and about the life you build for yourself on an emotional and relating level, because cups are about relationships. And I'm not just talking about love relationships. I'm talking about all our interconnectivity. And cups are about emotions and about creativity. And I want you to reflect on those three things: relationships, emotions, creativity, and ask yourself about the mark you're leaving on the world, because you're actually being directed in a very, very healthy way to leave the mark you want to leave. You're being pushed right now to be your best self, in short, to answer your own calling, in terms of you have gifts to offer the world, and perhaps you have been too caught up in other things, in dealing with the chaos that we've all been dealing with, and you in particular. I know you've had your own set of chaos, to work with those gifts. And you are now being nudged lovingly by the universe to be like, yeah, you got these gifts. It's time, you know, it's time to make your mark. And I think that's a beautiful thing to do. And I leave you with that. I love it. Finally, a positive card. Okay. Let's see what else we got over here. All right. We got Judith, Lana Marie pulling a card for you. And then who else do we have? Let's see. We got Lana. Savannah, did you put a cat in the chat? Let me take a look and see. You may have catted me. I just see a butterfly from you. Okay, well, let me know if you want a card. Lana Marie, then Mary Jane, then Angie. And I'm like looking to see if there's anyone else. I'm scrolling. Lana Marie, Mary Jane, Angie, Claire. That's who I got on deck. If you do not hear your name and you're like, wait, but I wanted a card, drop a cat in the chat right now. It's not too late. Okay, Lana Marie, I'm pulling a card for you. I hope you're enjoying your shower. I think that's adorable that you brought us in with you. And please be safe. Don't get electrocuted. My goodness. That is not the wish for the Witchy Weather Report. Okay, Lana Marie, we have the 3 of Pentacles here, indicating that it is a time to talk about giving and receiving, specifically External help may be available to you. You may feel uncomfortable asking for it. And here we have this very direct thing of like someone passing coins to someone else. It's not as simple as like someone handing you money or you handing someone money. It's about exchange of energy for mutual benefit. Three of Pentacles is a card about asking for and receiving help from someone who is more able to help you. In other words, you both exchange energy that is worthwhile to you, right? So someone hired me recently to take care of their social media and things like that, because I am able to do it in a way that is quicker and more efficient than them, because it's just something I've been living and breathing for the last bunch of years. And yeah, they're paying me, and there's an energy exchange there. They're getting something they need, I'm getting something I need. In this case, it is money. It's not always that way. Sometimes it looks like barter. Sometimes it looks like you go over to a friend's house and they need to cry on your shoulder about something hard, and they also like send you home with a pie. Like you take care of each other. You don't always need the exact same things. We have these energy exchanges that are, you can't even count whether they're even or uneven, because it's apples and oranges, and when we have people in our lives that we care about, we just show up for each other and we don't keep score. So anyway, point being, Lana, the big message behind this card is you are not alone. You don't have to face what you're going through alone. There is help available to you. So instead of beating yourself up and trying to figure it out by yourself, I really, really recommend that you reach out to any resource that you feel comfortable reaching out to. You're not alone. Okay. Mary Jane, pulling a card for you. Judith Swyman. Judith just says pie. Pie. Judith is the one in the chat always throwing pies. I can always count on you for a good pie throwing. Tis pie season too, by the way. It's soup season and it's soon to be pie season. Here in the States, at least. All right. Mary Jane, here is your card. We have the Nine of Pentacles reversed. This is a card that really suggests you are not feeling your own sense of self-possession is the word I want to use. The Nine of Pentacles upright is a card of real self-possession. It's a self-made woman type of card. It is a card about acknowledging all that we have created in our lives, and honoring that and feeling gratitude for that, and allowing ourselves to receive from ourselves. You know what I mean? I often will... I'll lay my clothes out the night before for if I have an early day, or I will, when I'm cooking dinner, I'll cook a bunch more than I want to eat and freeze some of it so that when I come home late from a gig, I have a soup to eat or something. And my thing that I say when I do that is like, oh, past Rory took care of me. And so Nine of Pentacles is about past Mary Jane taking care of present Mary Jane and honoring it and owning it. You're not feeling it right now. And I don't think it's because you haven't been putting effort in. You're not a lazy person. You're not someone who doesn't pay attention to those practical things. I think it may be because you are so caught up in like external stressors, other things that are going on in your life, that is very difficult for you right now to appreciate the stability and simple pleasures that you have created in your life. You're too stressed to access it, to access your own resourcefulness and equanimity. So I'm going to ask you today, and you mentioned coming back to this painful memory of parental neglect, which really makes sense that you'd be in this Nine of Pentacles reverse space, because Nine of Pentacles upright is about having your needs met by yourself. Having those kind of memories might make you feel like two things: resentful, like, well, I'm the only person who can ever meet my needs. What's up with that? Like, can anyone else ever help me? Because I'll help other people, right? That resentment of like, why do I have to play everything on hard mode? As well as the sense of like, maybe my needs aren't met, right? Like maybe I've been pushing through to do these things and yet I'm nursing a wound. So, I'm not going to give you prescriptive advice around this, other than I'm going to ask you to be kind for yourself. And I am going to maybe invite you to make a list, either aloud as you go through your day, or to write something, of what you have created for yourself, of the stability and resources you do have that make you feel safe and whole. And don't limit it, internal, external, like I think it's helpful to make a list of things that maybe make you feel like you are in your power right now, because you might not feel that way. And instead of being grateful to others and to the universe, I want you to be grateful to yourself right now. I want you to honor your own inner strength, and know that you got your own back. I think that's the important thing you need to remind yourself of at this time. So look for examples for that. Our brain computers love confirmation bias. We have a lot of confirmation bias. We can't help it. It's hardwired into us. And so I am going to invite you to hack yourself with confirmation bias and look for examples of you having your own back, you showing up for yourself, you creating stability in your life so that your brain is like, oh yeah, I do that. Hack the confirmation bias, lead a better life. You heard it here first, kids. Judith Wyman with this helpful comment. Pies are not square. They are round like this deck. Mary Jane says, makes so much sense. Thank you. You're very welcome. Okay, Angie, I'm pulling a card for you. I think you're good. I think you're off the phone, so I think this is a good time. Then Claire, if anyone else wants a card, last call, put a cat in the chat or forever hold your peace. And never feel bad, by the way. I think sometimes people are like, oh, I'm always asking you for a card. That is literally why I'm here. Never feel bad about showing up and asking me for a card every week, because that's why I do this. I do this so I can pull cards for you. It literally is allowing me to share something that is important to me with you. So it is giving me a gift. So never feel that you can't ask. What else was I going to say? I don't remember. I'm just going to pull a card. Angie, this card is for you. I am shuffling for you at this time. Okay, we have the Six of Swords in reverse. Continuing our theme of being affected by the past, the Six of Swords is about carrying yourself away from stuff that is not working for you. Literally carrying yourself away or being carried away to refuge. It is a refugee card, and I have had people experience this card literally as a refugee. I have a couple friends actually who were affected by like really big storms in the last several years and literally had to leave their homes behind so that they didn't die. And the Six of Swords was the card that came up for them. But it is also it's a card of emotional refuge, right? Of moving away from a relationship or a job that is toxic, moving away from a situation in our lives that is harming us rather than helping us to grow. The Six of Swords in reverse indicates that that's getting complicated. It can mean that stuff is coming up now. Often when we do the initial physical moving away, like it's usually physical, right? And then we have to deal with the emotional fallout, right? Physically, right? We can take ourselves away. We can quit a job and not go back again. We can end a relationship and move our stuff out of the apartment, right? We can, end a situation that isn't working for us and physically not show up for that situation anymore. Maybe block someone on our phone or just take it off our calendar, right? We can do that practical action. And usually only then, because often this is causing us some trauma, the emotional stuff comes up, right? And we're like, oh, I was in this constant state of stress because of this negative, toxic situation. And now that I'm in a safer place, now my body and brain is like, okay, shall we deal with that? And that to me is the Six of Swords reversed. It can also indicate being stuck in one of those situations. But for this reading, for you right now, and I read partly with intuition and partly I know some of y'all, and I'm very grateful too because you're wonderful humans. I'm saying this is the emotional thing. This is the thing of like, you have left, but you haven't left in your brain. Your brain doesn't know you've left. I mean, raise your hand if you have ever had a bad dream about like a horrible job or a horrible situation in school that you are years behind, but you have the nightmare as if you're still there. Because boy, that happens to me often. And she says, oh my, running from a lot of that. Well, I'm going to give you my same stock advice that I've given to everyone today, because I think we all need it, which is please be kind to yourself. Remember, you can tend to this without it's not an on-off switch, right? It's not like, oh God, I have to face everything all at once and that's so overwhelming and I want to die. Or I can compartmentalize and ignore it all. You can tend to this in baby steps, right? You can literally give yourself 5 to 15 minutes a day to like write some lines about how you're feeling and then continue compartmentalizing if you need to do that to like live your life, right? You can take this in baby steps. You can make this really small and easy for you. You can give yourself a lot of aftercare if you do find yourself bumping up against things that are stressful, and reminding you of the past in a bad way. You can deliberately put things into your day to remind you that now you're in a different place, and just to give you comfort and joy, right? So I'm going to give you that prescription, which is to take really good care of yourself and deliberately make a little bit of a plan. And I'm not going to tell you to plan to deal with the emotional stuff, because it sounds like it's coming up whether you like it or not. Make a plan to deal with the fact that will affect you. Make a plan to take good care of yourself. Make a plan to be well fed and well nourished as much as you can, and to put restorative activities, replenishing activities into your day, so that you begin to heal rather than just re-traumatizing yourself. That is as prescriptive as you will ever hear me get. Claire, I'm pulling a card for you, my darling. And if anyone else wants a card, last call. Last call for cards. If you have enjoyed the Witchy Weather Report, I do this every week, and I really invite you to tune in every week. I love it. I love the community we have, where people just keep coming back. People get to know each other. We all show up for one another. It's really cool. We have inside jokes and we goof around. It's really nice. So please come back. We do this every week, Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern time. Other times in other places from 11 to 12. And if you want more of this, I have a podcast. It's called Sassafras Cast. Visit anywhere you listen to podcasts and type in Sassafras Cast, all one word, and you will find it. We are going to do a very special episode this month of Sassafras Cast, and some of you have sent in stories of user submitted, like spooky stories, like brushes with the paranormal. I'm real excited about it. But I have a bunch of back episodes you can listen to right meow. If you really, really love this and you want to throw some energy my way, there is a virtual tip jar. It's scrolling across the bottom there. Virtual tip jar is Venmo at Rory Kelly or PayPal.me/Rory Kelly. Never expected, always appreciated. I know everyone's got their own situation with money at any given day. The only thing I ever feel is grateful that you show up, and extra grateful when someone throws some love in that tip jar. If you're on Instagram, it's the link in my bio. What else can I say? And if you want to be in a part of like a super lovey community like this, but deeper, patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot is where you can do that. Please feel free to take a look and see if that's awesome. Andrew says, Cell is glitching out. We'll have to go back to the replay. Fair enough. I'm sorry. It feels a little especially cruel that I got to your card, then the cell started glitching, like, of course. But the replay will be there for you on many channels. Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Insta. It's going to be in all those places, so you should be able to find it somewhere. Okay, Claire, this card is for you. Here's your card, Claire. It is the King of Vessels. The King of Vessels is backwards. Not upside down, but backwards, indicating that your emotional head is in the past. Like everyone's this week, apparently, including my own. I'm not immune to this stuff. So let's talk about this, because this really indicates to me that you're in your feelings. Not a negative place to be. We all have feelings and we need to inhabit them sometimes. You're in your feelings, and it's not about things that are happening right now. It's about things that are happening in the past. I guess things that did happen. I should use past tense. The King of Vessels, however, has attained some emotional mastery. So to indicate that the King of Vessels is looking back at his past really indicates that there are some lessons to be learned here. You are looking back at your past, and wow, like, yes, themes have emerged in this particular broadcast. A few people are in this place, again, including me. You have an opportunity now with what you have learned, both about yourself, and about your values and who you want to be, like with the growth that you have done over the last little bit of time, you're able now to look at your past and maybe glean some, cull some better perspectives out of it. It may be that you can break through a past painful story, like a shame story or a pain spiral story, and look at it with a little bit of the new perspective that you have, now that you have grown and learned and had other experiences that have shaped your values. And you may be able to pull something out from it. You may be able to pull some perspective. We can't go back and change the past, but we can look at it with fresh eyes. And sometimes what that allows us to do is sometimes our feelings about the past can shift. And this is not like the toxic way, right? Not like, oh, well, I guess everyone was trying their best. I guess I don't have a right to feel that way. No, 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 no. No, I'm saying that our feelings about the past can shift as we grow, because we grow stronger and we gain perspective that we didn't have when we were younger. When we were younger and we were overwhelmed by a situation that perhaps traumatized us and deeply, deeply affected us, and we were just doing our best to keep our heads above water, now perhaps we're in a place where our heads friggin' are above water, and we can look back and say, all right, I can see that situation with fresh eyes. Here is my new takeaway, and maybe I can relate to it emotionally in a way that is now healthier for me. So that's the kind of work I'm talking about doing, because the King of Vessels is a very mature person. This indicates that you are ready to bring some maturity that you just didn't have. You didn't have access to at that time to the situation. And that's a hard word because it implies like, I don't mean to imply like anyone was that you were being immature. I mean to imply that you have learned things and experienced things that give you a perspective that is healthier for you. Evolution is what I'm talking about here. Okay. That's it for today. Oh my God. And Angie says, and I got a call at the same time. Of course, right? But that's okay. Claire says, LOL, maybe in the past, never. This is why we're friends. I'm right there with you. I've got 5 minutes left and I am out of people to pull a card for. So I'm going to do something I sometimes do and pull a card for myself live on air. And I'll tell you, this is a vulnerable thing for me to do because I'm going through stuff. I woke up today in a really weird mental health space. I'm just going to share that honestly because I'm a human and we have a right sometimes to be in a weird mental health space. You know, we have a right to have needs and not be always on or whatever. Anyway, I'm pulling a card for me. Here is my card for me. It is the 8 of Pentacles reversed. As per usual, the tarot doesn't surprise me, but does annoy me a little bit. So the 8 of Pentacles is really about creating your present and your future. Often you see someone like hammering pentacles, like making pentacles like a craft person, getting better at their craft by doing. This person is actually a glass blower, which is appropriate because this is a stained glass thing. So he's like doing a glass blowing thing to make these pentacles. I have been working, and I think if you know me personally, a lot of you know this, I've been working really hard on my career lately. Since 2020, I've been actively going, I need to shift some things in my career, and I've been actively working on that. And I'm too overwhelmed. I'm too overwhelmed right now to put my focus there. That is why the 8 of Pentacles is in reverse. The truth is, if you know me, I am someone who is never, it's who I am. Judith can explain it to you because she's an astrologer. She read my chart and she's like, yeah, you basically are your career, and your career growth is your personal growth, and how you relate to the world on a professional level is you, and there's just nothing, that's all there is to it. And that's why, like, in all of my professional contexts, I'm so earnest and vulnerable. I can't help it. It's who I am. Anyway, 8 of Pentacles is in reverse right now because I really don't have the energy to give to that right now. I'm just getting through each day because it's a very, very busy time. And I'm having feelings about it. So I'm going to give myself the same prescriptive advice I've given to everyone else, and I'm going to try and be gentle with myself about it and just allow myself to move through this time. All right. I thank all of you. Oh, you're welcome. I thank all of you for coming and hanging out for the Witchy Weather Report today. My name is Rory. If you love this, make sure you like and follow me wherever you're watching. If you want more vibes from me, more, witchy tips for living a sassy life, go follow Sassafras Cast wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find it on YouTube. Sassafras Cast, all one word. If you want a larger reading from me, you can get one at etsy.com/shop/sassafras tarot and use the code Witchy Weather Report, again, all one word, for 10% off. You deserve it. You're part of the community. I want to give you that discount. And finally, if you want to be like in in a really awesome, deep community of people who are excited about spirituality, excited about personal growth, and also like have a sense of humor and know how to be good to each other. Patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot is where to do that. That gets you a backstage pass to their live recording of all my podcasts on different levels. It gets you card pulls every month, and it gets you access to this really special community in Discord where we all show up for each other, we support each other, we show each other pictures of our pets. We help each other, and, sometimes we run challenges in there, and we share memes, because we all need memes. So, if you want to get in on that, patreon.com/Sassafras Tarot. Thank you so much, everybody. You're wonderful. I'm so grateful that you are in my community. I'm going to bid you adieu for another week, and see you again soon. Mwah.